A short video now just practicing the participles in context of longer stretches of text. Now, the participle doesn't actually occur very regularly in ordinary biblical Hebrew prose. So the first three readings in this week's set of readings take you into different genres of writing in the Hebrew Bible. This first text, I've reconstructed a prophecy of woe, and we'll see how the participle is used. But as we'll see, there are other genres where participles are regularly used. Hanavi Hazakein Asher Bachatzar Hamishkan Omed V'Omer. Hanavi, the prophet, Hazakein, the old one, the old prophet, an attributive adjective there, the old prophet. Then we have a subclause, Asher Bachatzar Hamishkan, who is Bachatzar Hamishkan, in the courtyard. Chatzer is a courtyard, Chatzer, but here we have Chatzar, the construct form. So the courtyard of Hamishkan, of the tabernacle. So the old prophet who is in the courtyard of the tabernacle, Omeid, stands, and here is our first active participle, stands, V'Omer, and says, another active participle. Hine, Ha'ir Hagodola Hazot Chotet. Hine Ha'ir Hagodola Hazot Chotet. Behold, Ha'ir Hagodola Hazot, the city, the big, the this. Behold, this great city, Chotet, Kotev, we have a participle form from a third aleph root, Chata, third aleph chata, to sin, and the third aleph causes the slight change in vowels. We would expect chotet, but the aleph is too weak to cause that change to a segulate shape, and so we just have chotet. Behold, this great city is sinning. Ha'ashirim, that is, ashir is an adjective meaning rich, and ha'ashirim are the rich. So it's an example of an adjective being used as a noun. The rich, lokhim, kotev, kotevet, kotvim, kotvot. From lakach, to take. The rich are taking, or since the participle can be habitual action, he is describing now what he sees as he looks around the city, what's regularly going on. The wealthy take, we could say, I think in good English, the wealthy take lahem, for themselves, lechem, bread, have to be careful there, for themselves bread, min, from, hadalim, dal can mean poor in a very holistic sense, and here it is used again as an adjective being used as a noun. So the wealthy take bread for themselves from the poor. What else does he see going on habitually? V'ha'ish asher yesh lo kesef boneh lo batim gedolim rabim. The man who there is to him yesh lo kesef, there is to him silver. Remember that yesh and the preposition le can be used as a way of indicating possession. So there is to him silver. In other words, he has silver. So the man who there is to him silver, the man who has money, in other words, the man who has money, what does he do? Boneh lo batim gedolim rabim. He is building, or builds, is building, participle from the third hey or third yod root, b-n-ya, b-n-ha, boneh, bonah, bonim, bonot. Builds, or is building. Builds lo for himself, batim, gedolim, rabim, many large houses. What else does the prophet see as he looks around this city? V'hamalka, and the queen, lo vorachat. Beracha is to flee, boreach. Here, instead of having borechet, for the feminine singular, kotev, kotevet, boreach, we might expect borechet. We get borachat because the third guttural spreads an ah flavour both backwards and forwards to its surrounding vowels. So the queen does not flee, borachat, min hara'ah, from the evil. We would just in English say evil, but in biblical Hebrew you would very regularly say the evil. We know what we're talking about when we talk about evil, and so in a sense it makes sense, it's logical to say that it's definite. The queen does not flee evil. V'hamelech, and the king, v'hanavi hara, and the wicked prophet. We have a prophet, an old prophet here speaking. He's presumably not the wicked prophet, but there is a king and a wicked prophet. And what are they doing? They are bocharim, choosing. And remember, bachar takes the preposition b to indicate what is being chosen. So the king and the evil prophet are choosing. Here's our b. What are they choosing? Nashim yafot rabot. The king and the evil prophet are choosing rabot, many beautiful women. V'ha'anashim, and the people, or the men, lo tzo'akim, are not crying out in distress, el Elohim. It's not just that evil is happening, but that there isn't even any turning to God in the midst of all of this evil. The people are not crying out in distress to God. Okay, there's the beginning of reading number 1. In a very, very different mode, one of the places that one very regularly meets participles is in the hymnic type of material, which you meet again in the prophets and also in the Psalms. The idea here is, I suppose, that God is described. He is the one who rescued Israel from Egypt, for example. a very, very regular theme that the psalmists like to reflect on. But in their minds, it's not just that he did it once, it's not just that he rescued, but he is sort of by definition the rescuer. And so a past tense, what we would encounter as a vayiktol if it was a narrative, can become a present participle. It's not just that he rescued, but that he is the rescuer. So let's see. Anochi Adonai ve'ein od. I am the Lord, and there is not od, another, and there is no other. And now he describes himself. Yotzer or. Yatzar, the root yatzar, is to form or to fashion. So here we have the participle form, the fashioner. I, the Lord, fashion light, or even you could say, am the fashioner, the one who fashions light. Uvorei choshech. We've met the bara root right at the very beginning of our course in the creation narrative. Bara, to create. It's the distinctively divine action of creating. And here we have the participle form. So I am the former or the fashioner of light and the creator of choshech, of darkness. Oseh shalom. Asa, the root third hey root asa, to make. So it behaves like boneh, bonah, bonim, bonot in the participle. I am the doer or maker of shalom, the maker of peace, uvorei ra, and the creator of disaster. An interesting theological angle. I, the Lord, I am the Lord, and there is no other, the fashioner of light, the one who fashions the light, and the one who creates darkness, the maker of peace, and the creator of disaster. Let's nip down here. Elim, gods. These would be gods with a small g. Elim omdim lefanav. We've now gone into a third person description. In this first stanza it was the Lord speaking about himself. But now this is a third person, the psalmist speaking about God. Gods with a small g. Omdim, stand lefanav, before him. Seraphim, noflim al panehem. Seraphim, from the root serapha, to burn. So seraphim are burning ones, or what have been has come over into English as seraphs. So the seraphim, noflim, fall, al panehem, on their faces. And these are both participles being used to indicate this is continually happening. These gods with a small g stand before him, and the seraphs fall on their faces. And what else customarily or habitually or repeatedly happens? Ruchot, winds or spirits, shom'ot b'kolo. We've met before that shama'a, to hear, shama b'kol, to hear b'kol, can mean to obey. So spirits, shom'ot, obey, habitually, customarily, his voice. Malachim osim devaro. And angels, malachim, do his word. These participles all make sense in the context of these things being generally, habitually true. So in this first stanza, he is the fashioner of light and the creator of darkness. These participles describe the very essence of who he is. He is the former, the creator, the doer. And in this second stanza, these lines, the participles are describing, as it were, a regular day in the heavenly courts. Gods standing before him, seraphs falling on their faces, spirits obeying his voice, and angels doing his word. Okay, so there's a small taste of how participles are used. I will leave you to cover the rest of these readings in the usual fashion. The translations are all going to be available in the usual place.